child, I thought to myself, oh man, I can't wait to
And we're back.
You know, we're never going to get an episode where Nightcrawler talks about Christianity.
Might as well rip that right away.
The foundation God has built in our hearts shall never be destroyed. Man, I don't get you. Yeah. I've marked a few passages you may find rewarding. Remember, Herr Logan, different eyes. Ah, heaven. Back in the civilized world.
That
Those quiet little
looks
monks are starting to grow on me.
that.
Chef, those monks kill themselves. We on our own in this world. Life is random. Give you a full house or a busted
The fuck.
What I say?
What if it's right? What if there is nothing else?
I will give thanks to you, O Lord, for though you were angry with me, your anger turned away and you comforted me. I will trust and will not be afraid.
This one piece from his Comic-Con panel was all that I needed to know. Instead of basing the show off of comics by Chris Claremont, they seem to be doing their own thing, which seems to be on brand for recent Marvel.
Better not have cut off the beginning of my thing.
And they admit it in interviews, like it's a casual thing. Like, you know what? Thor's
That.
right. I never read a comic book.
When the DVD comes out, I'm going to read a Thor comic book and just see where we went wrong.
Alright.
Oh, that's fair.
3103.
I just want to see the comics come to life. I don't want to
3603. Alright, so it's missing fucking 5 minutes. It'll probably come back eventually. The fuck? Alright. Fucking OBS showing my desktop.
Decade lasts 15 years. And it's very clear to everyone paying attention what a low opinion they have of their audience. One of them said outright, like, this is a class thing to them. They think the readers is in a different class, that we deign to have them read our stories. And I see that kind of attitude way too often in popular fiction today, or at least these industries where people write these stories. And it's really sad because I pull from, because I grew up in the 2000s and the early 2010s, and I pull from that time where it's not quite socially accepted.
But you do get to see the Daily Bugle newspaper in it. Hints at Spider-Man existing in this universe, and Eddie Brock, which means Venom because there's a news piece on it. Who cares? You might have also noticed the Voldemort-looking character.
To it, but there's this big culture with so much breadth that is being a nerd, and it's so deep, and you could just really dive into it. And it's gone from you would be attacked and made fun of, but you had this, and you just had this special kind of community, this special place you could do, and it's gone from that where it's gone to mainstream. But by going in the mainstream, they want to divvy it out. It's more shallow. It's been what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know.
Diluted?
Diluted. Thank you. Diluted. And
So I need to cut. It's causing me so many fucking problems. Goddamn fucking thing.
His new face is a callback to the Changeling, aka Kevin Sidney, which I believe is one of his original names or aliases. If you want, I don't care enough to remember because I was no more a fan.
To me, it's interesting.
Version of the comic book version, if we really want to split hairs. If you Google a little bit, you'll find his original face matches that of Morph in the animated television show. And if you look up his comic biology or bio, you will see that he clearly identifies as male. But then again, with all that information, it doesn't mean anything because these
diluted,
literally have Gambit kinetically charged Wolverine's claws
diluted.
that are attached to his The moment his claws come into contact with something else, his flesh would be blown off his body, because that's what Gambit's power does. Every
What I'm looking
X-Men
for.
fan knows
I don't know.
this, but I guess
Diluted?
he opted for
Diluted.
Bitchute
Thank you.
to
Diluted.
work
And
rather than Colossus and Archangel. They had to come up with some new cool team move because they can't use the fastball without Colossus. But the real crime in all of this is
been
Simon Bell Rogue.
what's the word I'm
He
looking
took my
for?
girl's ass over.
I don't know.
X-Men 9
Diluted?
and Hank
Diluted.
Rogue.
Thank you.
What's up, DK Studios? How you doing?
The word I'm looking for. I don't know.
Diluted?
Diluted. Thank you. Diluted.
He turned
And
Rogue
I,
to a
it,
goddamn plank of
to
wood
me,
with
it's
a Joker-sized chip.
interesting, but also kind of sad.
X-Men fans
I do
saw
have to
life
wonder,
being
though,
uncontrollable
that
and lament
as
the loss
people
of
do
modern
realize
success.
that, hey, these
It's
industries,
people have
these
the
industries
best
don't seem to have a very high opinion of their audience. If we're now going to get more people going back to places like Bane Books, like the projects that you've been working on, and it will go there. I mean, you have this new book that just came out, and you have quite a few titles now to your name. Are you seeing growth in science fiction, or do you think there's a new audience coming to these stories?
Parades around in a Wolverine skin suit. Let's go, Bob. The Archer style 2.5D animation lacks depth and soul. It's like any
I
other
think you know-
modern adaptation of your subject. A shadow of its former glory. A quick flip, fast cash grab, and some fan bait on a string, praying we're stupid enough to be fooled again.
And there's nice impression.
Alright, so we're gonna watch a couple of videos. First of all, let me hit you with this. I don't know if you saw this. I was gonna put this on today and go through it. Medicare.
Club that would have me as a member.
Casino, Warski, PPP,
And there-
about Eric July criticizing you and Nick.
Oh, me?
I think he mentions you and Vito. I think so. Are you prepared to deal with this?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right.
Not being prepared is the best way to deal with any of this stuff.
That is true. We got a 23-minute video here. We're gonna share it with Dick Matt. Ladies and gentlemen,
Okay.
special guest.
There's a moment where Groucho Marx says, "I never want to belong to a club that would have me as a member."
How you doing, Shane? I love
And
listening to you guys' show. man.
nice
I felt
impression.
bad calling in. He was like, you guys are like best buds. It's fun to listen to you two.
No, you're good. You're good. I haven't been on stream with you. How are you, sir?
Great. That's probably a good thing. Usually I give off a bad impression on streams, so I'm not sure. I've seen some of the last one. You know, it's funny that hello sound.
Yeah, definitely.
Me and my sister always greet each other like that, like our whole lives, specifically because it's the most annoying sound in the world. So when I hopped on that stream, I was like, "Oh, this will really
Yeah,
set
definitely.
Hello.
But in
Oh, and it got
in terms,
laughs. It was so funny.
Well, I mean, I had to sit there. I like that whole thing. Hold on, let me get rid of Az for a minute. Are you following this whole thing with Az? You watching?
Let it rip, Spice.
Very upset when he was trying to get his food today.
What?
There was produce.
Old
or
friend of mine
produce,
used
while he
to
was trying to get his slop
use the
from
word
store. Did you
spice
see
like
that?
that.
No, I didn't see that. Oh my.
R.I.P.
People were upset that there was gay pride flags at the store.
Somebody please pull it up. Like, send that. Like, this is the thing, guys. I'm relying.
Oh,
on
man.
I can't watch all
you
this.
you stand a better than average chance pulling in enough people just on the curiosity. As long as you keep your production values down, production costs down, and the MCU has apparently forgotten about that one.
Yeah, definitely.
But in terms of, is there an audience for it? Yes, there is. I think the audience has never gone away. I think the audience is very self-selecting. I think I think a lot of my readers are people who have always marched to a particular the beat of a particular drum, and when and if the mainstream of society tends to align itself more with that drum beat, it's not like they're going to march away. They're not contrarian by nature. But if it changes away or goes too far in the other direction, or it doesn't change them very much. I think there are always going to be, look, as long as we have a society where things have to run and things have to operate, there have got to be people who are saying, yeah, but bottom line,
what are the numbers saying? What is the received wisdom of people who've done this for a long time, even if the tech is changing it somewhat? People like that, I think, are always going to like science fiction. And science fiction is very popular amongst engineers. Engineers either have no use for it because their attitude is, yeah, but it's not real. It's like, well, you're missing the point, but okay, that tells me you just don't like that speculative part of it. But those who have a speculative tendency, you're going to find a lot of people at the engineering and technologist level who are very, very fond of science fiction, and it doesn't much change. I think there's hope. Is it a new audience? Ask me another 5 years.
Fair. I remember one time when I was serving on my mission back in the day, and we knocked at the house of this guy, and I could see through his window he's watching Star Trek SG-1, and sorry, DS9. There we go. Yeah, no, not Stargate. Okay. Star Trek DS9.
It was Star Trek.
Different mixed acronym of letters and numbers.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, hey. Sorry, DS9. There we go. Yeah, no.
An excellent con artist.
I'm pretty neat though with the whole page turn and splash pages and
Sorry, DS9. There we go. Yeah, no.
Just setting those things up and payoffs and everything.
No, not Stargate. Star Trek DS9.
It was Star Trek.
Different.
Yeah, but who cares, Shane? I mean, we're funny book artists. It's just not. I mean, at the end of the day, like what we do takes a long time to learn, and what's outrageous about what's happening with the universe.
Sorry, DS9. There we go. Yeah, no, not Stargate.
Okay.
Star Trek DS9.
It was Star Trek.
Different mixed acronym of letters and numbers.
Yeah.
And I said, oh.
Know how long it takes to learn to become a confident.
And I said, oh.
Doesn't get abused by his peers.
Oh.
This guy was never abused by anyone. Dick, you have to understand something. When we started out in comics, I turned in my papers, and they literally get.
Are you talking about the host of the show? Peter Pischke? What is that? I don't know what that means. What you're calling him. Herb Kid? This is Pete Pischke. He's a journalist. Newsweek. Wall Street Journal, I think. He writes all over the place. He's a disability writer, but he also runs this pop culture show called Culturescape, where he interviews people who are in the industry.
Yeah, no, not Stargate.
Okay.
Star Trek DS9.
It was Star Trek.
Different mixed acronym of letters and numbers. And I said, oh, hey, I see that you're watching that, because I like sci-fi. He's like, oh, yeah. He says, anyone that's in news, they really like sci-fi. And I think that is true. I think the mistake we've made is that science fiction, great literature,
I don't think he would
aspire to be something more. And
I don't think he would debate you on that.
I think the sad caveat of today, if I look even at what's happening with some of my favorites like Doctor Who, they've made the mistake of thinking that instead of trying to inspire the audience to be more, this is the best of us, this is the ideal. Let's tell the very best stories we can with the best people we can. Let's really astound and amaze. And they says no. All these shows, all these movies, they have to reflect to the audience. We're essentially taking these properties and we're bringing them down to their level, without understanding that they are taking out that inspirational aspect to it. And going back to even stuff that you do, hard science fiction does really well. It says, it doesn't say here's a good story, but it says that there is this chance that if we could understand these things, that this could be real.
Yeah, there was more to it. I think there was alcohol involved with minor. It was a little.
Giving alcohol to kids.
Stop complaining about.
How come you never tried that on Nasser? Nasser Rabadi, the artist.
About your neighbors. And that's sad to me because I think I listen. I'm listening to science fiction Doctor Who book that was written in the 70s, and it's like.
You're a young man and he doesn't make a move. Like I guess I'm too old. I guess I'm over the hill. So yeah, I don't know the reality of this. I've just seen.
It's nutritious.
allegations of
It's not
this.
just this doesn't just taste good. It's not just McDonald's, but it's actually good for me. And that I think is the major difference. How you would change that? Yes. And I don't know if the people who are in Hollywood can necessarily understand that. Instead of just trying to take it and make it into McDonald's, like too difficult, like the producer you described at the start of this intro.
And I was about to say,
everybody's doing it, and you can't just stop it.
His name was Robert Kincaid. Isn't Billy Kincaid the name of?
Oh, hey, what up, dude?
That's a red flag, right? That's a big red flag.
Don't work in comics, man. If your name is already a pedophile.
I thought that maybe I met someone from across the country who would be like, "What up, Spice?"
there were all sorts of inequities which were just fine.
Yeah, I've been doing this freelance stuff, freelance editing stuff for a little over a year now. I edit one of the episode of this show every week.
All sorts
Controversial journalist Taylor Lorenz was on a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you follow politics on the internet, but yeah, original Spice.
as well. There were all sorts of inequities which were just fine.
Yeah, I know. I really was not expecting that, but it was like 2
as well.
weeks later.
There were all sorts of inequities which were just
and people were like, Ethan has definitely like chosen his side. And I hadn't. It's just that I wasn't expecting this from him.
Yeah.
I really wasn't.
I also I do clips, highlight videos for a comedy podcast called The Biggest Problem in the Universe, starring Dick Masterson and Vito Giswaldi. Very funny shit. It's comes out every Friday night at 8 p.m. They do it live, and I just find funny stuff, funny segments to make highlight videos from. It's all on the. It's all, if you want to check it out, I have it all. If you go to the front page of my YouTube channel, there's a playlist. Every episode of this show I've done, every highlight video I've done for them, and just the other day I started a new playlist. I'm doing, I'm editing the live concerts for Punk Rock Tacos up there on North Avenue at that Mexican restaurant that I cannot pronounce the name of. Clementines or something, I forget. But I'm working with Noah now, editing the videos for him, and we just put out the whole He Who Corrupts show from last June. Yeah, we did the whole He Who Corrupts show with mixed with multi-camera and the soundboard recording. So it's like, boom. So I'm excited to do some more of that. I got to talk with Pete from Maggot Twat. I got to convince them to play Punk Rock Tacos because I want to get a couple people. We just need 3 cameras on them. 1 camera on each guy at all times, or maybe a 4th camera in the back, and that would make some crazy stuff. Yeah, Clementines. There we go. Yeah. What? Your new band's playing there Friday? Shit. I'll try to this Friday, like in 2 days. I'll try to get off work. Are you headlining? I'll try to get off work early so I can yeah. Semites. Magatwat rules. Yeah, Magatwat's shit. Is that the name of your band? Semites? Semitas. Semitas. I get it. It's Spanish. Yeah, that's the name of the you wrote out Clementines, and then I tried to Clementines. Yeah, yeah, let me know when you're playing Deep in Shit. That's the name of it. You're probably playing second? All right. Well, I'll see what I could do. I'll try to get there. And I think Noah records. I think he records all the bands. But if he doesn't, I'll talk to him, see if we could work something out. Because yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Check out the Hugh Corrupts. Check out the Hugh Corrupts one I did, because yeah, I want to get more metal bands there, because I like punk rock and all, but I like editing between cameras to metal songs. I prefer it. But yeah.
Yep. There's plenty.
For writing, but it makes
Which
the
was
seal
just fine.
Yep. There's plenty of race.
And I need to make that clear. Like, the reason why I'm in this fight.
Not really new. Dennis, the bass player in Deep and Shit, records all the bands. Oh yeah. Oh, he's your bass player? I didn't even know Dennis played bass. Or maybe I did. I just always think drums. Yeah, Dennis is the one who is metal only fam. Posers rot. Yeah, Dennis is the one sending me the Google Drive folders with all the soundboard recordings. He does the engineering on them. Yeah, it turned out good. Yeah, so if you're already talking to Dennis, you guys are definitely going to get a recording. Okay, so yeah, we're good. I bet you I'll be editing your show pretty soon. I know I have two. I have the Queers and Sushi I have sitting that I have to edit yet, but yeah.
Guys, there is no business. He's selling culture war totems.
Yeah.
$35.
Yeah. All right, cool. I got something to look forward to day after tomorrow.
10,000 books at $40.
Which was just fine.
I like that. Look for reward total. That's kind of what I was trying to.
Times as well. There were all sorts of inequities, which were just fine.
Put your money in this thing. Doesn't matter if you like it. Just put your money in it.
Yeah.
Those times as well. There were all sorts of inequities, which were just fine.
Yep. There's plenty of races.
All right, hold on.
This was going on last night.
Yeah, I know. I've been talking to him. I'm like, dude, come on here and join the show.
Just fine.
Yep. There's plenty of racism, sexism. Yeah, you can find that.
Yeah. But
I meant him getting swatted last night.
No, that was the opposite.
Yeah, that was sad. Like, he's getting a lot of negative attention. All right, let me send Nick the link. I don't know if he's around, but
Okay.
Join us.
You live 5 minutes from the venue? Yeah, I mean, I'm 14 years living up the block from Michael Anthony's, next to Mahoney's here. I just had my 14th year living in this building. Drunken Atheist Studio 2.5.
But I kind of feel that what happened.
Like, he's like going like yellow spots on his face and gone. It looks like hair's falling out.
So from what I understand, he's saying that he doesn't eat
Approaches, and this is coming at it today. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Gattaca.
thin, he says. So he just drinks a bottle of whiskey a day, and then for food he eats one little packet of Cheetos Crunch, and he has
I have, yes, an excellent movie back from the 90s. Yes.
Yeah.
He's basically describing his own personal Holocaust. Somebody going on a diet. What I understand is he's not eating for at least 2
I have, yes, an excellent movie back from the 90s. Yes.
It gets to the point where you, and no offense to this gentleman here, but it gets to the point where you become so large that it's not even a point of conversation anymore. It's like nobody's going to say anything to this guy about being overweight. It's like, what the hell?
February he's wearing a Santa robe, but that's because it's the only thing he has that fits him.
Straight up, man. Straight up. Where's your studio at? Or you don't have to say that on stream. You could always shoot me a message.
But the more hurdles you go over, hopefully the better you get at hurdling.
I honestly know why he's doing this to
I
himself.
think his
I
mind,
mostly agree with what you had there.
Nick, like he's just fucked. He's a pure alcoholic.
But he shouldn't be. Like, he has a wife, he has kids,
I
he
know.
has a lot of money.
It's this big pause here.
I think that, you know, I've given...
I mean, is it becoming like leaving Las Vegas? Like, I mean, that's what it feels like. Because every time I hear or see about him, he
Do I
looks
cut
like
this out?
sicker and sicker, and
What happened? Like, why did people turn on Nick? He's like the nicest guy in the world. What
I
happened
at the
there?
crib, straight
I
up.
think because he's the nicest guy in the world.
Same here.
That's all it is, right?
Yeah, I think that'll get you.
The studio is my living room.
Right.
keeps telling me he's like,
You're not nice. Big bad booty daddy.
This is pretty, like, ruthless.
And everybody thinks my channel is about atheism. It's a self-deprecating joke.
We just have to. The challenge is to do better, to get over the next hurdle. There'll be another one, but the more hurdles you go over, hopefully the better you get at hurdling.
You know, party and hook up with multiple women.
I mostly agree with what you had there. And yes, I believe that the issues of the problem of human nature will always be with us. Maybe not the specific ones, but there's usually something.
Yeah.
I think that is completely correct.
This is projection, I think. Pretty sure.
See, I thought he'd be like, super happy because with the Rittenhouse
Change, negative change. Where are you?
top streamers, I'm sure he made hundreds of thousands of dollars. His Rumble contract was probably worth a lot of money. Like, so you're doing really well financially. Your family can enjoy that. You can enjoy that. But he seems just kind of unhappy. It's weird.
It's one of those scenarios where it's like victory has defeated you, you know, because he's just bored. Like,
Because it's surprise.
He knows all about that. Victory is defeating you.
or like, he was saying his favorite movie was American Beauty because he related to like the main character in that.
Yeah, the characters
Yes.
or anything else like that.
Hard to
the
agree.
extent
You're supposed to.
The reason that he died in that movie or had to die was because he didn't go through with fucking the underage girl and like his.
Okay. Hey man, yeah, I'm looking to pick up more work editing. I have like all the setup now. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have computer access, except Dennis let me borrow a computer to do a project back in 2010. But other than 2010, for like a few months, I have had no computer from 2007 until 2021. So, but I'm all set up now. I'm editing for like multiple hours a week, and yeah, because pizza just ain't cutting it anymore. I got to start pursuing my career.
characters or anything else like that.
Hard
To
to
the
agree.
extent
Yeah, let's collab on some stuff though, definitely.
it's the worst case scenario,
That's true.
but it's one that I would love to see us.
We haven't moved forward with it, but yeah, I've been like a YouTuber guy since I got this rolling in like 2013, being like a YouTuber. And for most of that time, I was editing everything on Android devices. And when I first started with the Samsung Galaxy 3, it was pretty tricky to make a nice-looking video with the editing programs I had. But now they've gotten so advanced that they can rival Premiere, genuinely. They're not as good as Premiere, though. I mean, I'm glad that I'm back on computer.
But it's one that I would love to see us.
It's worth considering. I know the world of news is hurting a ton in that way. I know comics.
70 bottles or like 37 bottles.
He had 37 bottles on hand in his room, but he brags about how he drinks whiskey, like that he downs the whole bottle. Like I would brag in college
Yeah,
to my friends.
nice.
It's something. Like, is there some like horrible thing that happened? Is he alluded to that? That's why.
Besides people who.
No.
Didn't he say? Wasn't there a clip where he said he had his worst day ever?
Okay, well, did you hear what happened? So he got catfished by
Yeah, and anybody who
basically almost like a hobby.
Yeah, I was on one of the shows where Mandy said their dad died or whatever. I don't know how
Doing it basically almost like a hobby.
either a woman or someone posting pictures of as a woman. Did he?
What do? You
he
just
didn't
kind of
get chatting with her or anything, sending her anything weird. That's
He
catfish.
didn't go see her, anything like that. Catfish is like when you get caught sexting, somebody who's pretending.
It would be a very.
They aren't.
Yeah.
I don't think that ever happened.
Funny, but I don't know if it's like. I don't know if it's that funny.
Hey, Ambergad's coming to see us at C2E2. Ambergad pretends to be a woman. So
Right.
I'm gonna come see you. We're just like, it'll be great to meet you, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, really?
that would be us getting
Nice. Good to hear. I'm feels like I'm just screaming into the void over here on YouTube because it doesn't get a lot of attention. But now that I'm working for other people, a lot more eyes are on stuff that I make. Even though most people who watch it don't know it's me pulling the strings. They assume the person whose channel it is the one doing all this work.
Anybody who already has a name is more likely to survive. It will be a very, very bad time for people who are just coming in and trying to be heard, because I think a lot of folks who are.
What they're eating or something,
It's okay. You re-say your statement. You're okay.
This might be an edit.
People drop away. There's going to be a tendency, and I turned this off, so I have no idea why this is doing that. I turned this phone off.
It's okay. You re-say your statement. You're okay.
I like Nick Recated. I will hear no evil of him. Look, there's a Dick and Veto section here. But this is the first part. Why is Medicare supposed to hate Eric July? I wish I was there. Andy, you keep saying you're going to have me on your show. When Medicare comes on
Work
the
as
show,
magnets.
Goes, why am I
Well, what it's going to do is it will tend to, I think, really, there's going to be I think a tough period.
Yeah,
Could
no,
be.
I agree. I agree. No, and I see the news. It's like, oh, isn't this great? AI is going to get rid of all the busy work, No.
It's like my dad calling me up. Hey, I heard there's this guy in July. Why am I supposed to hate him? Fuck off, man. I'm working here.
Industry climb the ladder. If you eliminate those,
Why are independent creators and Comicsgate supposed to kind of be suspicious of him and not listen to him? I can answer that question.
comes the ladder, and now no one could actually grab it. Well, it's great for the people who are already on the ladder, but I mean,
I think that's a very
picture of a talent deficit. I mean,
I think
well, it's great for the people who are already on the ladder, but you're going to have a problem in the future of a talent deficit. I mean,
I think that's a very
Threatened to execute Riley for taping $21 to his industrial warehouse. You can't figure, for the life of you, figure out why that's funny. That he had multiple 6-hour live streams threatening to murder a friend,
much better of a position.
a friend of ours, whom everybody knows. You can't figure out why it's funny at all. Okay.
It's very confusing.
You in that much better of a position. So
true. I'm a realist myself. I understand. Well, and on that depressing note, by the way, the chicken fried steak of science.
Deserve it because the comic book sucks ass. Yeah, and it probably does suck ass.
That's true, actually. You got that.
The chicken fried steak.
It probably does suck ass. That statement set off weeks of tantrums. That's why it's funny, PPP, you imbecile.
The worst, so that things are better. Generally, generally that just leaves you in that much better of a position. So
true. I'm a realist myself. I understand. Well, and on that depressing note, by the way, the chicken fried steak of science fiction. The chicken fried steak. Well, and on that depressing note, by the way, the chicken fried. Well, and on that depressing note, by the way, the chicken fried steak of science fiction and pop entertainment, that would be Warhammer 40K. Those people are insane. People are insane, but they
a fucking ranch vehicle
Entertainment, that would be Warhammer 40K. Those people are insane, but they keep coming back for it. I love them.
Anybody's ever read a Spider-Man comic that was like, well, that
I love them. They're
truck in a
Am I being loud as fuck right now? It's like 1:30 in the morning. I will.
I love them. They're I love them. Okay, those people are insane, but they keep coming back for it. I love them. They're crazy.
They do. So.
Crazy.
They do. They do indeed.
Is there? Yeah. Do you have final thoughts? Do you have anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
Long pauses.
I've really enjoyed this. I would like to give a plug for Hard SF and. And I think a lot of that has to do with rigor. It has to do with accountability. If you have a world, does it make sense? And does it follow its own rules? Which is, by the way, one of the things that I think, going back to where we started, in a sense, is what made is what makes science fiction hard SF on TV and film so difficult. Because you know, for instance, how they got the transporter in Star Trek, right?
I would love to hear this story. I think I have heard this one before, but you can tell.
So originally, you.
So this is why I believe that you should learn economics. If you don't know anything else, to learn anything else, you should learn about economics.
There you go.
Yeah. It'll help you better understand the world, and it also will help you get less frustrated.
No. I'm not on live with them. This was actually probably recorded a few months ago. We've had so many guests that he's has a lot of backlog of guests, but we've had like Taylor Lorenz was on a few weeks ago, so we needed to get that out right away. And then we had the guy who founded Alterna Comics on last week, so we wanted that one out real quick. So now we're getting back to some stuff we've been sitting on.
Okay, that works. I like the teleporter because it's a wonderful thought experiment.
It is. Really is.
Experiment.
It's all good.
It is. Really is.
And then I had to review it. You know, I mean, so.
I mean, he didn't want help, like as far as director or any type of insight from a comic pro, really, when he went into the book.
It wasn't about that. It's not about making a good comic book. That's the reason.
I mean, obviously, yes, we know that now, but I mean, like.
I feel you.
Wonderful thought experiment.
It is. Really is.
Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today, Charles. I really appreciate it.
I'm Chuck.
You prefer going by Charles.
EBS tossing your opinion out on that stream, and chat was talking about it too. They're like, "Why are you just discarding this guy?"
I'm Chuck. I'm Chuck.
What were your guys' first?
So many collisions.
Charles, I really appreciate it.
I'm Chuck.
You prefer going by Chuck?
Like it stings, then it stings less.
When you're a kid and you're immature, you react like Eric. But like Eric is like 30-something. I mean, I don't know how he actually looks like he's in his 40s now, but.
Oh yeah.
Charles.
Yep.
You're a Chuck
yeah.
person.
Valuable criticisms that I'm going to need to make a better product that's going to be bulletproof. Eric doesn't want to do that. Like Eric's attitude.
Charles.
Yep.
Well,
You're a Chuck
yeah.
person. Okay.
people who don't like what I do, and they're gonna, I guess, stop buying my stuff, and fuck them. like really there's still some people who do like the lowest common
Chuck.
denominator.
You prefer going by Chuck, not Charles?
Yep.
You're
Yeah,
a Chuck
yeah.
person. Okay.
What's Gucci Spice? What up, Gucci
Chuck,
Spice?
not Charles.
Yep.
You're
Yeah,
a Chuck
yeah.
person. Okay. Chuck.
Yeah.
And give me notes. Be honest with me. Tell me what needs to change, what needs to get better, so that the book is bulletproof. And that's what we're looking for. Eric's got a very weird.
Going by Chuck, not Charles.
Yep.
You're
Yeah,
a Chuck
yeah.
person. Okay. Chuck.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I meet a lot of people who are proud Chuck goers these days.
We just had a guy named Chuck Dixon on 3 or 4 weeks ago, so he just had a guest who's straight up Chuck.
Goers these days.
Chuck Dixon, he's a big comic book guy too. He like invented Bane. We had him on the show. Over the summer, we had the guy who invented Twisted Metal and God of War on the show, like a month before the Twisted Metal show came out. Twisted Metal show is pretty good too. If you haven't checked that out, it's really corny, but I liked it.
Probably one of the reasons that I use it.
Just criticism of by your peers. You just learn to bathe in it. And every now and then there'll be something you
Probably one of the reasons that I use it.
That makes it unique.
and I'm gonna make it better. You know, and then just trying to get in at Marvel and DC, it was like, well, you suck at drawing cars. It's like, yeah, but are you really buying Spider-Man for the cars? Yeah, these buildings.
That makes it unique.
It's like, fuck. And then
Well-
all of a sudden you start hyper-focusing on backgrounds and stuff and getting it just right, just to get your.
Well, also that, and it's like,
Yeah, I'll take them back to the office. Maybe you'll get something.
But that's you hyper-focusing on backgrounds. This is another thing that drives me fucking crazy. The 3D assets thing drives me absolutely insane. And you got Medicare. Oh, fuck.
just folks. I'm just Chuck.
Got you up on the 5K Apple displays here. Looking good. I'll check out Twisted Metal on your recommendation. It's on Peacock. How does it look? I'm assuming you have it full screen. Is my resolution all right? Does my webcam suck? I can't figure out the resolution on this webcam. I think it's from China or something. So it doesn't even have like a brand name on it. So I haven't been able to research it. And I'm still semi-computer illiterate, so I don't know how to fucking check
I want
it.
them to just, we're just folks. I'm just Chuck.
Okay. Does your family call you Chuck? Are you? Okay. Does your family call you Chuck? Does your family?
There's something they said though. He's a black guy making a comic. Like that's the reason people hate. It's like bringing up people's race or sex when they make a comic. When you buy a comic, it's paper. It's paper. And
We're just folks. I'm just Chuck.
Does your family call you Chuck? Are you Charles at home and then Chuck outside?
And I know that's the thing. They're like, oh, they just hate it because he's a black guy making a comic. No.
Well,
like Tom Cruise.
I've
Tom
Chucked
Cruise is
my
that
wife.
way.
Saying that is amazing. That's fantastic, dude. And I think this is like the prevalent. I think he's reading Kiwi Farms. Kiwi Farms has this attitude right now.
Well, I've chucked to my wife, and I'm dad to my kids. I don't hold with first names for parents. That does not go down in this household. I'm telling you.
Do you know how many manhwa and manga artists use fucking
Oh no, on that note.
This interview's going off the walls at the end.
It's not 800 pages, Jim. It's 100 pages that he was paid $3.7 million to produce. And no, we don't fucking.
This is a good interview. Oh, your video is better than the footage you were going through?
Well, I've chucked to my wife, and I'm dad to my kids. I don't hold with first names for parents. That does not go down in this household. I'm telling you.
You know, a lot of times when editing this show, they'll have some guy who like worked on Dungeons, like something really important in Dungeons and Dragons, and I don't know shit about Dungeons and Dragons, but when I have to go through and listen to this conversation, I'm like, it sounds pretty interesting because these people are very much into it. Hit up your sponsor and have them send me on one of those chairs. This chair right here is one of my drunkest buys. It's the PewDiePie chair. Cost me like, I leased it. No, I didn't lease it. I financed it. So it cost me like $430. You know, they have those things on websites like called Zezzle or whatever. It says you don't have to buy it all at once. You could do payments for a full year and pay a little interest on it. And that's what I did. Because that it got my drunk brain to
I'm telling you.
to pull the trigger.
Oh no, on that note,
Because you know those families.
And then we say, okay, why is it terrible? It's because there was no artistry put into this at any point. At the script level,
I've never played D&D. I don't understand it. When I hear like people trying to explain it, I'm like, so is it a game or is it just pretend? So it's like improv?
that's why there's lifeless.
You made every promise. Every promise was made to this audience who invested way too much money. $35 for
on that note,
Because you know those families. You know
yeah,
those.
I know.
Yeah.
I have my sister's like that. I understand.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say whatever manga he's talking about that uses 3D.
I know. I have my sister.
3D asset. Like
Where
by
they
the
made
time
the
the
3D
John
assets for that manga.
Yeah.
On that note,
Because you know those families. You know
yeah,
those.
I know.
Yeah.
I have my sister's like that. I understand. Yeah.
I ate.
in color. You know, there was no drawing done on top of it.
Alright, hold on a second. Mediker, come on my show. It's been a while since
I
I've
ate.
spoken to you. Come on my show. We'll talk this out.
So, like, that doesn't, I don't give a shit about that. I've heard that as a criticism, like, oh, he used assets.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I have my sister's like that. I understand. Yeah.
I ate.
Okay, and on that note, we're going to end it here, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today. Be sure to check out Chuck's books. They are most excellent.
Yeah, it's popular, you know. 500 ain't bad. You can afford one for me too. I am extraordinarily poor.
All of them there. There's not really a bad one I've read. Not that I've read his entire catalog, but everything I have read is pretty good. Which that's my endorsement right there. So check it out. Thank you to Bain Books Publishing for helping put this together. An imprint of Simon & Schuster, and of course Young Voices, a journalism advocacy organization. I'm your host, Pete Pischke. Thanks again to my editor, Chris Holowicki, who makes me look way more competent than I actually am. And it's truer in this episode than many. Thank you, friends, for taking the time to watch. Until next time, keep geeking out. Keep geeking out.
I mean, there's some irony in this, right? Like the church has an issue, and then he's hiring the Saska sisters.
There we go. I've got to the end. Now just outro, intro, watermark. Do I finish this tonight? Or do I finish this tomorrow? What time is it? I've edited for like an hour and 15 minutes. I could put the intro on, outro on at least. And the watermark. Here, outro.
He took that opportunity to use that against his critics. He blamed you and Vito for that. And he said he had proof. He said he had proof that you guys, he had receipts that he never showed. He used weasel words, so he didn't use your name. He said that fat guy, and then Buster Baxter, so he didn't ever have to say, he didn't ever have to stand behind his words. He just turned his fans against his critics.
Well, he turns celebrities against us too. Like the quartering looked like a total fucking idiot with his anything you need, Eric. Like, dude, you made all these e-celebs who are treating you with kids' gloves and want to bite onto your cloud and want to like support this parallel economy. You made them all look really fucking stupid.
I got you. It's all good.
I actually understand them, though. Like, here's a guy that's a YouTuber that basically just made millions of dollars off a comic. Well, he wants that to work because we can make that comic and make millions of dollars, both for Eric. I mean, it makes
why a lot of people support him. Well, I mean, initially I supported him because it's like, well, I told my dad read it, and he said, "This is shit, son." I said, "Dad, this needs to work because this is more audience coming into the independent comic scene. You know, we want to, sure, they're going to start out with his book, but we want them to kind of churn around and then come to Comicsgate. We want more people buying indie comics." So initially I was supportive, but this poison
Geeking out.
his behavior and his not being able to accept criticism, pushing back against his critics, and then telling me that I needed to fall into line.
Yeah, it feels, you know, even though I'm not making a living off of doing this yet, it does feel good to be doing this. It's something that was missing from the equation for many years, because I've been like a digital editor since like 2002. So I've been doing this just as a hobby when I'm able to for like 20 years. And I've always had it in mind. I even when I went to COD before I dropped out of community college, I was taking classes in pursuit of doing this thing. I'm glad I didn't go to fucking film school, because I would never pay off that debt, and I probably would have failed out because I was not treating my ADD until recently. Back on Ritalin for the first time since 1997, and it's helping me out a lot. But yeah, it's good. I'm glad that I'm doing this. Yeah.
Till next time, keep geeking out.
I need to listen closely.
Why? Because you're laughing at it.
Would be paying for life. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, and to what? To get a degree in what? It's a real tough industry, the film industry. I probably wouldn't. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm going to school to become Steven Spielberg or something. I'm like, I don't think it would have panned out like that. I would be working a lot of jobs in this gross industry where I have to hide all my opinions in fear of being canceled over some dumb shit. Which, man, if you look at the past decade, it's pretty ridiculous out there. And plus, like, what would I be making? Look at what's coming out of the major everything out of the mainstream. Fucking sucks. Hang a piece of paper on the wall that says you know how to make a film. Yeah. I mean, there's still a ton of stuff I have to learn, but still, I'm glad I didn't at 19, 20 go and take out like hundreds of thousands of dollars, however much it would have cost.
Taking the time to watch. Yeah. Until next time, keep geeking out.
I've heard all the shit that's been going on.
Boom.
I've read up on it finally, right? Yeah. But I don't. What the fuck started it? What did the guy do to deserve any of it? What he's got to stand up. His personality. He's successful. What?
No, he is well liked.
You dish it out and can't take it
in the community.
Yeah, I mean, basically, he's a guy who says monetize your haters, and he's a guy who.
Thank you, friends, for taking the time to watch. Until next time, keep geeking out.
If I was him, I would be fucking up that intro every time, because the outro, I'm always fucking up my outros, repeating the same thing or like getting it out of order. And he usually gets them right on
Thank
first
you,
try.
friends, for taking the time to watch. Until next time, keep geeking out.
Perfect.
Indie comic there is. And he said Eric July, and he started saying like the comic's not any good, like all the basic stuff that now is all out there. And Vito didn't want people to look at ISOM and think that's what indie comics were, because it's not any good, and then they'll get a bad taste in their mouth about indie comics. When he said that on our show, I myself and the rest of the audience just ripped on him for being jealous for like a year. Like, we were gaslighting him, saying that it's obvious he's just jealous of a black guy, and like he's just racist. Like his comic will never do any. He'll never be any good. He's no good. Yeah, it's because we all kind of knew that like he's probably right, but this is funnier because this will make him like react and get more and more angry. And it wasn't until Nina Infinity told me that he was jealous that I thought, okay, well, I mean, I'm not gonna let a woman say. I mean, we all know that Vito's probably right. We're just ripping on him. Like, what do you mean? And that's when, like, that's what started this schism between, like, well, yeah, I mean, we all kind of know we all get Vito, but I mean, we're just not gonna say anything because it's funnier to mess with him. If we would have known for a second, Eric would have treated this the way he has. We would have ripped on him right away. Like, we never would have thought being honest about it would get this kind of reaction.
I was stunned by it. I was absolutely stunned by it.
Here we go.
Reaction to all of this. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, and I kind of talked to him in private.
See that? You see this big block? Oh, this is Adobe Premiere Pro 2020. You got some work for you? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I'd be down to do that. Yeah, I'm using Adobe Premiere. That sounds like something I'm capable of doing.
I'm not used to that. I'm sorry. That's when I kind of...
Hello and welcome to...
there, and he, like, I guess, was super successful, and then...
I mean, I think it drives it.
Hello and welcome to...
A lot of engagement because he has a lot of fans that get pissed off when you criticize him, so they're like...
Welcome to Culturescape, the show...
Perfect.
Hello and welcome to Culturescape, the show that interviews the geek creators and influencers. I actually am, and it's truer in this episode than many. Thank you, friends, for taking the time to watch. Until next time, keep...
What do you think? This? Should I be arguing with this guy? I don't know.
Thank you, friends, for taking the time to watch. Until next time, keep geeking out. Keep geeking out.
It's just easy drama for these people. I just don't know how it even starts.
You guys had a whole episode on Ralph eating a sandwich. What the fuck are you talking about?
Thank you, friends, for taking the time to watch. Until next time, keep geeking out.
Excellent. Is it up to 5K now? I don't even... I don't know if my graphics card can even process 4K. I just put in a new one, but it's not a super expensive one. I just put in a new graphics card, yeah. All right. Oh, okay, we're approaching 1 hour. I am just going to do the intro tomorrow. No, maybe I could do it right now. That's 2. I have to stream Batman.
Some of you remember Monday Matt, right? I mean, you remember that whole thing?
He got laughed off the internet because of false flagging Dame Pesos.
So, right. So, that's what he did.
Nice.
He basically took this guy out. So,
Yeah, the reason I mentioned the 4K thing, because I was thinking, Pete here, he's accidentally sent me the videos scaled up to 4K, and it freezes this program. But now that I have that new graphics card in, maybe it could handle it now. I'm just like thinking out loud.
Private public industrial park center with 6 driveways and 20 gates and snipers.
I gotta grab a beer. One moment, please.
nobody's running out. See, as soon as he hears from the chat that somebody flagged, that Eric flagged somebody.
He knows the flagging is a red flag.
That's right.
But was he flagging people? Is that what started it, or is that just bullshit?
Frantically looking up. Come on, guys.
The thing is, though,
Give me the research.
like everybody involved in this, I think, is like flagging and doing.
No.
Wrong. Because unfortunately, like.
Why do you make that shit up? PPP, you don't know what you're talking about. Nobody's flagging anybody here on this side. Nobody at all. Eric is.
Okay. 1945.
DMCA striking businesses and things that are just parodying him. Come on now, nobody's doing that here.
That's the way like the internet is now. No, where pretty much everybody is doing all this.
Arrival in the system, and the producer, the executive producer, slaps his hand on the table and says,
You two do it. Fucking Mohammed Ali over here.
0 arrival in the system, and the producer, the executive producer,
94 days and counting.
and the producer,
Alright, hold on, we're about to go to Medicare talking about you.
producer,
Let me see. Direct
and the producer.
Alright, here we go.
All the fucking time. Like Dick Masterson is one that's guilty of it as well. Yeah. When he
And the
had,
producer.
Like, campaign against God Awful's Patreon.
No.
Vito's always going for people who make a platform.
Well, Vito, yes. Now, Vito made a big mistake by going after, it was a joke, but trying to get YouTube's attention over.
Yeah, that was bad.
And the producer, the executive producer, slaps his hand on the table and says, "That's what we need. We need that mid-course tumble. We need that counter boost. I don't know what it means, but we need it."
The other guy that they're talking
I
about
kid you not. That is pretty much a verbatim quote.
So yeah, we need to get the razzle dazzle.
and then was harvesting the names of people who subscribed.
Oh.
So he was banned for Patreon. That he got.
Yeah, give me the sizzle, but I don't want that steak. Exactly. And exactly.
Tweet. If somebody has an archive of this, God, I'd love it. It was Masterson responding to Porcelain after Porcelain had lost like his Patreon or like a channel or something, and
No.
like, Dick came out with this weird defense saying, "Oh, that's freedom of speech. They're exercising their corporate freedom of speech."
Oh, you better take that little gay voice off my quote, Jim. That was a response to your debate with Nick Fuentes, saying that yes, technically, flagging is freedom of speech. It's immoral, it's wrong, but the people who don't have accounts don't care about that. If you're gonna call them a pedophile, they're gonna flag you. Both of you are
2030.
engaging in very immoral free speech. It's not a pretty sight, but that's not a pretty battle, but that's what
because it was, they felt it.
justification of Porcelain losing his channel. I love Porcelain. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
About as believable as a scenario you can, and they ditch it because it was, they felt it was too too hard to understand. I actually think they're wrong.
That's my fault.
I think
And then also speaking about Big Masterson and Vito also.
Well, Vito is the biggest snitch of all time, so if it's an Aaron July was flagging, like, holy shit.
Yeah, fucking when I went to my fight Salt Poppy.
I think that typically what happens in Hollywood, in media in general, is that there is a, and I'm not so sure it's an innocent arrogance about the ability of their audiences to come along. I think that audiences actually very often like being challenged a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. And I think anybody who turns into curiosity was kind of pre-select.
Are you okay to walk home after getting your ass kicked in 12 seconds? You didn't get asked by any fucking journalist about the N-word?
I think that typically what happens in Hollywood, in media in general, is that there is a, and I'm not so sure it's an innocent arrogance about the ability of their audiences to come along.
The other thing I find a little weird, Eric July delivered on his product. Vito hasn't done his comic yet.
I know.
And Nick Ricada hasn't sent out his 5,000 gifts to his locals yet
I
either.
know. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny how that
Yes,
goes?
it's hilarious.
That it's
He deserves more shit for it. Yes, crack the whip on his ass. I do every fucking week. It makes me look bad. Vito's fucking lateness makes me look bad. Because I said you gotta support this. It's gonna be great. It's Vito, and he's fucking late.
Things are, not a week. That's not going to work week to week, but a one-time thing can be kind of interesting. But he,
Oh, that's what I'm watching on TV. I'm watching comic artist Ethan Van Sciver and Dick Masterson on a podcast. You familiar with Dick Masterson? The Dick Show. Very funny stuff.
in general, hard science fiction. Science fiction.
Half of it was him hand drawing little stick figures and everything with the word balloons in there. So I effectively read the whole thing.
Hard science fiction is a little bit like reality, I suppose. You have to be very deft at cutting out all the dull parts. And there are a lot of dull parts.
And then when it's their time to deliver a product, they fuck it up way worse. And, no accountability on that.
I don't think anyone really cares about that.
Got out Wilshire Boulevard. He got those draft copies out.
He did get those draft copies out. We need Wilshire Boulevard. Joey's King Tour for 5. Hey, Jim.
3002.
Jade me on your Ralph stream. I'll ask again. What do you think of Drexel bragging about being a child groomer?
Alright, I don't want to get into Drexel here. Drexel's not a part of this show.
These guys are calling everyone groomers and pedophiles, and they're shocked when their own quotes of the N-word.
If you take everything you're saying, whether it's TV, whether it's internet, we have removed.
This pedophile sent these things to this journal. Is he really a pedophile? No. It's just something we say, you know. 'Cause
We have removed.
You know, Lofty. Let's change the subject away from these guys and let's talk about another one of your favorite individuals.
We have removed the difficult. We have created a kind of child-proof world as much as we can here in the first world. In the other parts of the world, it's anything but.
Yes.
And
You know, we're talking right now. But yeah, these guys, it really is something else. Like, look at this guy's face. I like him. This guy, Matt Sazama. I guess he's written. Let me see what this is.
All right.
He's written a bunch of,
This is my
that I guess didn't do too well. Morbius, Madam Web,
favorite part of the episodes that I do here, the intros.
Dracula, and
Just because I'm editing a little something to music.
look at his face. I can't imagine being him. He looks great.
Yeah, I don't know if you listen to a lot of podcasts, but I would definitely suggest checking out Biggest Problem in the Universe and The Dick Show. It's very funny stuff.
That's a good point.
Banned on YouTube, The Dick Show at least.
Because again, you're working with Sony, you're working with Disney, you're working with Marvel, you're working with all of these different groups to take your script and turn it
we have removed the difficult.
right to, because
We have created a kind of child-proof.
You're writing Madam Web, you're writing, Morbius. You don't get a final cut. You don't get a final say. So this poor guy, he's just like, I'll take my paycheck, please. And that's his life. That's fine. Lofty Pixels comes in and goes, who knows if these films reflect the scripts at all? Quote unquote, legend. Lol. Lofty, shut up. Lofty.
We have removed the difficult.
I love bullying him so much. It's so rare. Him and Boogie they're just made for me to bully. I don't know. They're like that magnet with the hole in it. Like this hole is for me.
He goes, lol, simply being a multi-millionaire while contributing nothing of material value, your words, not mine, doesn't even warrant relevant status, let alone legend. Oh, fuck, Lofty.
God.
Okay, so that's exactly right. He was not expecting this. So the writer, this guy Chio Hodari Coker, on the other hand, wrote Creed 2. So he actually has some decent credits under his fucking belt.
We have removed.
He just says, essentially, you want to fight? He says, you want to come at me? I'm here under my name. I actually have time today. Which is absolutely amazing. So proud of this guy here.
We have removed the difficult. We have created a kind of child-proof world as much as we can here in the first world. In the other parts of the world, it's anything but.
He says, you can call me on the phone if you want. I'm just sick of people adding me like I ain't gonna.
We have removed the difficult.
Now, like, talking endless shit about these movies that are people's work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At some point, they have the right to respond to some degree. This guy here.
We have removed the difficult. We have created a kind of child-proof world as much as we can here in the first world. In the other parts of the world, it's anything but.
In front of 1,000 people instead of a regular conversation with one? Really?
Come on, call in. Don't be a pussy.
Lofty says, I mean, we can chat one-on-one.
I think that typically what happens in Hollywood, in media in general, is that there is a.
I gotta take out some
Just message me in my DMs. Sent you my phone number. Oh God, dude, I gotta see that happen. Come on the live stream, Chio. Don't be a coward.
Oh fuck.
Writing is awful, and there's no way you can defend it. I've seen better stories written by 10-year-olds, and they have made more sense. See, these are the same guys though that are defending ISOM. You know what I mean? There's no possible way that any of those movies is worse than ISOM.
Well, no, because they're like a complete story. They may not be good, and the audience might get out in front of everything.
Hard science fiction.
Exploring the characters well, or making you connect with them, but at least it's like a complete. It's like a building with all 4 walls and a ceiling. It's not the most exciting one. I don't want to live there, but at least it's a building. It's not bad.
At least a roof, yeah.
I had to go through a bunch of comics. I had to read Hawkgirl #1, which was just trans and gay propaganda masquerading as a Hawkgirl book, and I read it and people were outraged by it. I did a review right here.
Hard science fiction.
But this is better than ISOM. You understand? All of as horrible as this is, and yes, it's just trans and LGBTQ propaganda. Hawkgirl is completely mistreated in this book.
Is a little bit like
whoever wrote this has no idea who Hawkgirl is. The writer is a trans woman who just wants to talk about her own life, his own life in this book. And at the same
hard science fiction is a little bit like reality, I suppose. You have to be very deft at cutting out all the dull parts.
You go, okay, I understand who all the characters are and what they're trying to
that.
do. It's better than ISOM. So these guys, again, absolutely zero respect for creative people. Director X was another one who came on and just kind of said, heel versus babyface, you're talking mad shit about my stuff all the time. Why don't we just have a conversation about it?
We have removed the difficult. We have.
Where are these fellas from? Well, the biggest problem, Universe in the Dick Show, that's LA based. The host Pete here, he's from. He's based out of South Dakota, I think. Yeah, none of these are local guys. I don't know where this dude's from. He's some, author. I don't read books though.
We have removed the difficulty. We have created a kind of child-proof world as much as we can here in the first world. In the other parts of the world, it's anything but. Hard science fiction is a little bit like reality, I suppose. You have to be very deft at cutting out all the dull parts. I think that typically what happens in Hollywood, in media in general, is that there is a, and I'm not so sure it's an
above proficient talent, and they promoted woke messaging above story.
I think that typically what happens in Hollywood, in media in general,
a better product, and if it doesn't, that's a huge problem. If the product that comes out of removing, politics, but basically
is that there is a, and I'm not so sure it's an innocent.
doesn't make a better product, then you have a huge inefficiency or problem with the products you're promoting, because it should. But it's going to be difficult. There's an ocean of Hollywood is very good at filtering out the ocean of untalented people that want to be famous and want to get their
In media in general, is that there is a
messages out there, and the indie scene doesn't really have that. They just have loud
is
guys,
that there is a
big numbers. So,
there is a
I think it's good that everyone's being more critical of this stuff now.
We have to. I mean, again, we talked about
there is a, and I'm not so sure it's
$3.whatever million. That's nothing.
there is a,
compared to what a good story's worth. We have this opportunity. This money that we're bringing in is money that is supposed to pay
in
us
general,
to be
it
able to
is that there is a,
oxygen, the ability to create great
in media in general, is that there is a,
money that comes in from crowdfunding is nothing. Something that stands the test of time. Something like Lord of the Rings. Something like
I think that typically what happens in Hollywood, in media in general, is that there is a, and I'm not so sure it's an, is that there is a,
my product isn't woke, my book isn't woke, my story doesn't have wokeness in it. That you're just making the same mistake that the mainstream is, substituting wokeness for a story, substituting an absence of wokeness for a story is no better. It gets us no further along with things.
See how this looks.
I think that typically what happens in Hollywood, in media in general, there is a, and I'm not so sure it's an innocent arrogance about the ability of their audiences to come along.
One called What is Success? Are you excited about what success is?
Yeah.
This is going to be good.
Yeah.
Queen Bee says, I want you to be King Shark to anyone who turns on CG. Hail Comicsgate. Unintelligent Design, that's Liam, says, I too was touched by the hand of God.
We have removed the difficulty. We have created a kind of child-proof world as much as we can here in the first world. In the other parts of the world, it's anything but. Hard science fiction is a little bit like reality, I suppose. You have to be very deft at cutting out all the dull parts. I think that typically what happens in Hollywood, in media in general, there is a, and I'm not so sure it's an innocent arrogance about the ability of their audiences to come along.
And I quoted him a friend rate for doing a comic book cover for a crowdfund that's going to raise multi-millions of dollars, and that rate, as he exposed to the world,
Really?
$4,000. Now I want you to understand the reason why I asked for $4,000 is because I don't get royalties. I'm not getting royalties for these books that sell millions, and my cover for
Dude,
Ice on #2 was his best.
look through it. Is there a Moral Decay documentary somewhere in there? I'd be very interested in doing something with that stuff. Because frankly, there isn't enough of it. There isn't enough footage of HI or Joey. Yeah. A little bit. I'm taking parts that sound like they're talking about that for the intro to get people hooked in.
And the producer, the executive producer, slaps his hand on the table and says, "That's what we need. We need that mid-course tumble. We need that counter boost. I don't know what it means, but we need it.
I don't have his audience for anything. I would gladly pay $4,000 for a color.
Means, but we need it.
The art that seems low, but you're not to be crass, but you are buying.
I don't know what it means, but we need it."
By getting a
And an already built-in fan base, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw that, man. That was really low.
I kid you not. That is pretty much a verbatim quote.
Is that, yeah, we need.
Trying to show everybody that you were placating yourself to him by showing a low number. Like it was a very weird violation of like a business ethic. I feel.
Well, I think what he was actually doing.
That counter boost. I don't know what it means, but we need it. Quote.
Is that, yeah, we need to get the razzle dazzle.
Yeah, give me the sizzle, but
What I'm going to charge him might be different than what I charge Shane or anybody else. It's going to vary depending on how I feel, if I want to do the project, if I have time, anything like that. It's going to vary, okay? But what also happens is then the people that I'm hiring to do covers for me.
Yeah, give me the.
So you're a hot shot. This is what you're getting paid, but you're only paying me this, etc. It just fucks everything up, and it was really tough because I was in negotiations with another artist to do a cover for one of my books. At that point in time, it's really fucking awkward that he did that.
And the producer, the executive producer, slaps his hand on the table and says, "That's what we need. We need that mid-course tumble. We need that counter boost. I don't know what it means, but we need it." Quote.
Is that, yeah, we need to get the razzle dazzle.
Yeah, give me the sizzle, but I don't want that steak. Exactly.
Where they cut together. Oh my God, where's that video? Somebody send that over right now to my DMs. They cut together your issue with
Riley Martin from Howard Stern. No, but you know, I listened to a podcast that's pretty much Stern adjacent called "Who Are These Podcasts?" And I bet you that someone has mentioned him because that show is like all about. Well, the big thing about their show is they've been in a war with Stuttering John for like fucking 5 years, rivalry because they made fun of his podcast and they've just been at war ever since. He was abducted by aliens? Oh, so is he like one of these crazy phone people from Stern?
Very funny.
One single review caused that. It was unreal. So weird. Yeah, if somebody could send me that smash cut, that'd be great because it is terrific. But anyway, Dick Denardo says Sturgis looks like one of those Amish bastards who cut Shane's internet. Hail Uncle Ian Cap Happy. I'm glad Shane didn't see what Anna called him, says Russell Hall. GC 98136, you're supposed to push what this is.
We have removed the difficulty. We have created a kind of child-proof world as much as we can here in the first world. In the other parts of the world, it's anything but. Hard science fiction is a little bit like reality, I suppose.
Can you hear this guy talking over the music okay?
We have removed the difficulty. We have created a kind of child-proof
What's up,
world.
Hobo who begs on Twitch 29 in the Twitch chat? He's crazy. He has his own show on Howard's channel on Sirius. Oh, really? Well, so he sounds like he's doing a lot better than Stuttering John is. Hobo who begs on Twitch. You trying to get me right, Brody? I don't know what that means. Can you cop me that motherfucking Walking Dead game? What Walking Dead game?
We have removed the difficulty. We have created a kind of child-proof world as much as we can here in the first world. In the
It could be louder. Okay, good. There we go.
Well, again, what's going to happen is people are going to defend that action or speak, not even defend, people are speaking against, let's say, a reaction. Because people are going to say, well, before that, they did this, and before that, that's how it always happens. And I've dealt with this, I think everybody here has dealt with this on more of a micro level.
Oh. Well, still, he might still be doing a little better than Stuttering John is right now.
we have removed the difficulty. We have created a kind of child-proof world as much as we can here in the first world. In the other parts of the world, it's anything but. Hard science fiction is a little bit like reality, I suppose. You have to be very deft at cutting out all the dull parts. I think that typically what happens in Hollywood, in media in general, there is and I'm not so sure it's an innocent arrogance about the ability of their audiences to come along. And the producer, the executive producer, slaps his hand on the table and says, that's what we need. We need that mid-course tumble. We need that counter boost. I don't know what it means, but we need it.
Yeah, we need to get the razzle dazzle.
Yeah, give me the sizzle, but I don't want that steak. Exactly. Course tumble. We need that counter boost. I don't know what it means, but we need it.
Yeah, we need to get the razzle dazzle.
Yeah, give me the sizzle, but I don't want that steak. Exactly.
Sending Israel a comic. Which one am I? Am I Palestine or am I Israel?
Hello and welcome to
Very anti-Semitic story you just told.
Medicare. I don't know. It might be something that you want to look at. Here is Comicsgate Drama who came right through. I guess he's the one who did this super.
Hello and welcome to Culturescape, the show that interviews the geek creators and influencers who built nerd culture. I'm your host, Peter Pischke, and today I have a very special guest for you. His resume is most impressive. He is a distinguished professor of English, a Wall Street Journal best-selling author, a former designer for Games Workshop, a script writer for NPR, PBS, the Discovery Channel. He's collaborated with top scientific organizations and clients such as the Pentagon, the United Nations, and the WHO. Pentagon, the United Nations, and the WHO.
When he specifically goes through that internal dialogue.
I didn't say he could fly, you jackass.
No, that's not what he goes through the internal dialogue of him not being able to fly. You just tried to let
Wait, I'm following.
So you just said this is something that I should have went through. I'm trying to explain. I don't know if you need to rewind it. I don't know if the acoustics is bad. Where you're sitting. What I'm saying is you just tried to lecture me about it.
I read it when it came out. No, you didn't. That was my point.
We need to get the razzle dazzle.
Yeah, give me the sizzle, but I don't want that steak. Exactly.
Hello and welcome to Culturescape, the show that interviews the geek creators and influencers who built nerd culture. I'm your host, Peter Pischke, and today I have a very special guest for you. His resume is most impressive. He is a distinguished professor of English, a Wall Street Journal best-selling author, a former designer for Games Workshop, a script writer for NPR, PBS, the Discovery Channel. He's collaborated with top scientific organizations and clients such as the Pentagon, the United Nations, and the WHO. He is none other than science fiction author Charles Gannon. Charles is here today to talk to us about the state of the science fiction genre in books, TV, film, and games. He will share his insights on what makes hard sci-fi so different from the rest of the genre and why it is so rare.
Gotta add a few more bells and whistles onto the front here. Look how fucking big this thing is.
Yes, everybody, illogical mail. Wow, $20. That's so generous. Thank you so much. But remember how this started. Eric promoted ISOM and the Evan Flash from G&G crew cheering him on without questioning who is ISOM and what is the plot outline. So Nick came into Flashcast and said to Eric, Grunkle Baraka says, play that sax, fly man. All right, there you go. Thank you so much for $20. That's very generous of you. Iron Mega says, what really irritates me is that Eric July had to access some of the biggest names in the comic.
And I think I might have just finished the episode besides rendering and exporting and sending it over the internet.
We have removed the difficulty. We have created a kind of child-proof world.
Oh, not quite.
Listen, as much as I used to love Kiwi Farms, don't go to the Comicscape thread for any actual fucking information. Seriously, go there for laughs. Camelot's fine. We're already in Talladega and Dover. Okay, you didn't qualify for Daytona, but that's Shadowspawn says they went from denying using these 3D assets to defending their use in less than a month. Amazing.
Forgot about that. Eric didn't even know there was 3D assets in the comic.
$50. Wow, for bringing on Dick. Now you just need to get Rickade on.
But I don't want that steak. Exactly.
I have sent Nick Rickade the link, and let me just tell you. Hold on, let me just check real quick.
We have removed the difficulty. We have created a kind of child-proof world as much as we can. Here in the first world, in the other parts of the world, it's anything but. Hard science fiction is a little bit like reality, I suppose. You have to be very deft at cutting out all the dull parts. I think that typically what happens in Hollywood, in media in general, there is and I'm not so sure it's an innocent arrogance.
I'm gonna render some of this. I'm gonna render the intro so I can watch that.
Hold on a second, here's Scout's Whisper. Blessed are you, bringing forth joy and laughs and intellectual thoughts for all of us to partake in. Blessings to Ethan, Shane, and Dick. Oh, thank you, biblical prophet of Comicscape. That's very kind of you. Very kind. Okay, here we go.
Put on the better headphones. We'll see what this looks like, all nice and rendered. Just want it. Waiting for that green bar. Okay, there we go. Cancel. Now let's make it big. All right, see how it looks.
We have removed the difficulty. We have created a kind of child-proof world as much as we can. Here in the first world. In the other parts of the world, it's anything but. Hard science fiction is a little bit like reality, I suppose. You have to be very deft at cutting out all the dull parts. I think that typically what happens in Hollywood, in media in general, there is and I'm not so sure it's an innocent arrogance about the ability of their audiences to come along. And the producer, the executive producer, slaps his hand on the table and says, that's what we need. We need that mid-course tumble. We need that counter boost. I don't know what it means, but we need it.
Yeah, we need to get the razzle dazzle.
Yeah, give me the sizzle, but I don't want that steak. Exactly.
Hello and welcome to Culturescape, the show that interviews the geek creators and influencers who built nerd culture. I'm your host, Peter Pischke, and today I have a very special guest for you. His resume is most impressive. He is a distinguished professor of English, a Wall Street Journal best-selling author, a former designer for Games Workshop, a script writer for NPR, PBS, the Discovery Channel. He's collaborated with top scientific organizations and clients such as the Pentagon, the United Nations, and the WHO. He is none other than science fiction author Charles Gannon. Charles is here today to talk to us about the state of the science fiction genre in books, TV, film, and games. He will share his insights on what makes hard sci-fi so different from the rest of the genre and why it is so rare to see proper adaptations on screen. We will discuss his latest book, Protected Species, and his career as a writer. And of course, we will rant about the sad state of pop science fiction franchises. Which brings us to our stupid nerd question of the day. Who is the best and worst Marvel superhero? Charles is most familiar with the MCU, so we'll probably stick to that. And without further ado, welcome to the show, Charles. It's wonderful to have you here today.
It's great to be here. Do you want me to start with the stupid nerd question?
Sure. We don't technically start that way, but yeah, we can start with the stupid nerd question. Are you ready to submit your answer? Otherwise, I can go first.
And that's where the rendering ends. All right. There we go. So this episode between last night and tonight took 3 hours to edit. Not bad. Sometimes they take 5 to 7. But yeah. Yeah, he makes the audio, he enhances it real good before he sends it off to me. It's got good audio. Good audio is very important. All right. Well, I'm going to end the stream here so I could finish rendering and export this guy, but I will be back live. Thanks, DK. I will be back live in just a few, probably within the next half hour, to play some more Batman Arkham Origins, which streamed properly for 3 hours last night without giving me any blue screens of death, so we're on a good track. Sometimes the computer games, I just bought Grand Theft Auto 4 the other day, and my computer does not like that game running and me live broadcasting at the same time. But Batman, we're all good, and I'll probably put in a few hours of that tonight. But yeah, if you're still up, TK, come hang out. And yeah, until next time, everybody, y'all make sure to stay metal and hail Satan. Goodbye.
Fucking thing sucks!